I never thought my own mother would try to destroy the most beautiful thing in my life. But when she insulted Camilla's smile at that charity gala, something inside me snapped. What I did next shocked everyone in that room, including myself. This is how love changed everything. Before I tell you this story that changed my life forever, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. You're about to hear something real, something that proves love can conquer anything. Now let me take you back to where it all began. You know, people always ask me when I knew I was in love. The truth is, it wasn't some grand romantic moment like in the movies. It was a Tuesday morning in downtown Chicago, and I was running late for a meeting that would probably change nothing in my life. I was stressed, checking my phone every 2 seconds, when I walked into this little coffee shop I'd never been to before. That's when I saw her. She was standing at the counter, wearing this bright yellow dress that seemed to light up the entire room. Her laugh was the first thing that caught my attention. It was genuine, warm, the kind of laugh that makes you want to smile even when you don't know what's funny. She was talking to the barista about something, and I found myself slowing down just to listen to her voice. Then disaster struck in the most beautiful way possible. I was so busy watching her that I didn't notice she was turning around with her coffee. We collided, and suddenly there was hot coffee everywhere. On my shirt, on her dress, on the floor. For a moment, we just stood there, dripping and staring at each other. Then she started laughing again, and I swear my heart stopped. "I am so sorry," she said, trying to help me with napkins. "I wasn't looking where I was going." "No, no, it was completely my fault," I insisted, even though we both knew it wasn't true. "I was distracted by," I almost said by you, but caught myself. "By my phone." She smiled then, and I understood what people meant when they talked about time standing still. Her smile was radiant, genuine, the kind that reaches your eyes and makes you feel like you're the only person in the world. I'd never seen anything so beautiful. We spent the next 20 minutes cleaning up and talking. Her name was Camilla Johnson, and she worked in marketing for a nonprofit organization. She was smart, funny, and had this way of making everything seem brighter just by being there. When she mentioned she was from Atlanta originally, I found myself asking about her favorite restaurants there, her family, her dreams, anything to keep the conversation going. By the time we'd finished cleaning up, I'd completely forgotten about my meeting. All I could think about was how I didn't want this moment to end. So I did something I'd never done before. I asked her out right there on the spot. "Would you maybe want to have dinner with me sometime?" I asked, my heart beating so fast I was sure she could hear it. "You know, somewhere with less coffee spillage potential?" She laughed again, and the sound made everything in my chest feel warm. "I'd like that," she said, and when she gave me her number, I felt like I'd won the lottery. Our first date was supposed to be a simple dinner at this Italian place downtown. I'd made reservations, planned everything perfectly. But when I picked her up and saw her in this beautiful blue dress, all my plans went out the window. We ended up talking through dinner, then walking through the city until almost sunrise, sharing stories and dreams and laughing about everything and nothing. That night I learned that she collected vintage books, that she made the best chocolate chip cookies in the world, and that she had dreams of starting her own marketing firm someday. I told her about my love for old movies, my terrible cooking skills, and how I'd always wanted to learn to dance but was too embarrassed to try. When I finally walked her to her door, she stood on her tiptoes and kissed my cheek. "Thank you for the most wonderful night," she whispered, and I knew I was completely, hopelessly in love. The next 6 months were like living in a dream. I sent flowers to her office every Friday, different ones each week because I wanted to learn what she liked best. Turns out she loves sunflowers because they reminded her of her grandmother's garden. I took her on weekend trips to places neither of us had been before. We went to Wisconsin for a cheese festival, to Michigan to see the autumn leaves, to Nashville just to hear live music and eat barbecue. Every moment with her felt like a gift. She'd surprise me with homemade lunches when I was working late. I'd show up at her apartment with takeout from her favorite Thai place when she was stressed about a project. We'd spend Sunday mornings in bed, reading the newspaper and drinking coffee, and I'd think about how perfect it all was. The first time I told her I loved her, we were dancing in her living room to some old jazz record she'd found at a thrift store. She was teaching me to swing dance, and I was failing miserably. But we were both laughing so hard we could barely breathe. The song ended, and in that moment of silence, with her in my arms, the words just came out. I love you, Camilla. She looked up at me with those beautiful eyes, and I saw tears forming. I love you too, Adrian, she whispered. And when we kissed, I knew this was forever. But then came the hard part, meeting my family. My mother, Helen Cross, lived in a world I'd grown up in but never quite fit into. It was a world of charity galas and country clubs, of old money and older traditions. She'd always had very specific ideas about who I should end up with, and I knew Camilla wasn't what she had in mind. I should have prepared better for that first lunch. I should have talked to my mother beforehand, explained how important Camilla was to me. Instead, I just hoped for the best and prayed that my mother would see what I saw, the kindness, the intelligence, the way Camilla lit up every room she entered. It was a disaster from the moment we sat down. My mother was polite, of course. She always was. But there was something cold in her politeness, something that made me uncomfortable and made Camilla retreat into herself. The conversation was stilted, full of awkward pauses and forced smiles. When Camilla excused herself to go to the restroom, my mother leaned across the table. She seems nice, she said in that tone that meant anything but nice. But Adrian, you have to think about your future, about what people will say. What people will say about what? I asked, though I already knew. You know what I mean. She's not one of us, dear. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. She's the woman I love, Mother. That's all that matters. My mother sighed like I was a child who didn't understand the world. Love is wonderful, Adrian, but it's not everything. You have responsibilities, a reputation to maintain. When Camilla came back, I could see in her eyes that she'd heard something, or felt something, or just sensed the tension in the air. She was quieter for the rest of the meal, and when I walked her to her car afterward, she was fighting back tears. She hates me, she said quietly. She doesn't hate you, I lied, because I didn't know what else to say. She just needs time to get to know you. But Camilla shook her head. I know what I felt in there, Adrian. I know what I saw in her eyes. Maybe this is too complicated. Maybe we should... No, I said, taking her hands. Don't you dare finish that sentence. I don't care what my mother thinks. I don't care what anyone thinks. I love you, and that's all that matters. She looked up at me with those eyes that had captured my heart in a coffee shop, and I saw doubt there for the first time. It broke something inside me. I love you too, she whispered. But love isn't always enough, is it? The next few months were hard. We were still together, still happy when it was just the two of us. But there was this shadow hanging over everything. My mother's disapproval was like a weight on both of us. Camilla started questioning herself, wondering if she was good enough for my world. I started getting angry, at my mother, at society, at everyone who couldn't see how amazing Camilla was. Then came the invitation to my mother's annual charity gala. I don't think I should go, Camilla said when I told her about it. Of course you're going, I said. You're my girlfriend. You belong by my side. Adrian, your mother made it very clear that I don't belong in her world. It's not her world, I said, though we both knew that wasn't entirely true. It's mine too, and I want you there with me. She was quiet for a long moment. What if I embarrass you? I took her face in my hands and looked into her eyes. You could never embarrass me. You're the most beautiful, intelligent, amazing woman I've ever met. Anyone who can't see that is blind. So she agreed to come. She bought this stunning black dress that made her look like a movie star, and when I picked her up that night, I felt like the luckiest man alive. You look incredible, I told her, and she did. She was radiant, confident, everything I'd fallen in love with. You sure about this? She asked as we pulled up to the venue. I've never been more sure of anything in my life, I said, and I meant it. The gala was everything I'd expected. Hundreds of people in expensive clothes, making small talk and writing checks for charity. But walking in with Camilla on my arm, I felt different, proud, like I was finally being true to myself. I could feel the stares as we walked through the crowd. I could hear the whispers, see the raised eyebrows. But I didn't care. Camilla looked beautiful, and she was handling it all with grace and dignity that made me love her even more. We made it through the cocktail hour, through dinner, through the speeches. I thought we were going to be okay. I thought maybe people would just accept us and move on. Then came the photo session. My mother had hired a society photographer to capture the event, and he wanted family photos. Just the Cross family, he said, setting up his equipment. My mother stood next to me, but when Camilla started to step aside, I caught her hand. She's family, I said firmly. The photographer looked confused, glancing between my mother and me. My mother's smile was tight, but she nodded. Of course, she said. We posed for the photo, and I could feel the tension radiating from both women. But we got through it, and I thought that was the end of it. Then my mother made her mistake. As the photographer was packing up, she leaned over to him and said, just loud enough for several people to hear, make sure you get a good angle. We'll want to crop out that unfortunate smile. The words hung in the air like a slap. I felt Camilla stiffen beside me, saw her face crumble for just a second before she tried to compose herself. The people around us went quiet, and I could feel their stares like physical things. Camilla's smile, the smile that had stopped my heart in a coffee shop, that lit up my darkest days, that made me believe in love and hope and everything beautiful in the world. My mother had just called it unfortunate. Something inside me snapped. I looked at my mother, at her satisfied expression, at the way she was already turning away like nothing had happened. I looked at Camilla, at the tears she was fighting back, at the way she was trying to shrink into herself. I looked at all the people watching, waiting to see what would happen next. And I made a choice. I turned to Camilla, took her face in my hands and kissed her. Not a polite peck, not a careful gesture. I kissed her like my life depended on it, like she was the most precious thing in the world, like I wanted everyone in that room to know exactly how I felt about her. When we broke apart, the room was dead silent. I could hear my own heartbeat, could feel everyone's eyes on us. But I didn't care. I turned to face the crowd, keeping Camilla's hand in mine. This woman, I said, my voice carrying across the silent room, has the most beautiful smile in the world. She's kind, intelligent, funny, and she makes me want to be a better man every single day. I love her, and I'm proud to be with her. If anyone has a problem with that, they can leave. I looked at my mother, who was standing there with her mouth open, clearly shocked. That includes you, Mother. Then I turned back to Camilla, who was looking at me with tears streaming down her face. But she was smiling, that radiant, beautiful smile that had changed my life. Let's go home, I said softly. We walked out of that ballroom hand in hand, leaving behind a room full of shocked faces and whispered conversations. As we got in the car, Camilla finally spoke. I can't believe you did that. I can't believe I waited so long to do it, I said. I should have stood up for us months ago. She leaned over and kissed me, and I tasted salt from her tears. I love you so much, she whispered. I love you too. And I'm sorry it took me so long to show the world how much. That night changed everything. Some people called me crazy, said I'd thrown away my family for a relationship that might not last. But I knew better. I knew that what Camilla and I had was real, was worth fighting for, was worth everything. 6 months later, I proposed to her on the beach in California, where we'd gone for a long weekend. We'd been walking at sunset, talking about our future, when I suddenly couldn't wait another minute. Camilla, I said, getting down on one knee right there in the sand, you changed my life the day you spilled coffee on me. You made me believe in love, in hope, in everything beautiful in the world. Will you marry me? She said yes before I even finished the question, and when I slipped the ring on her finger, I knew I was the luckiest man alive. Our wedding was small and perfect. We had it in her grandmother's garden in Atlanta, surrounded by sunflowers and the people who truly loved us. My mother didn't come, but that was okay. We were building our own family now, based on love and acceptance and everything that really mattered. A year later, my mother called. She'd been doing some thinking, she said. She'd realized she'd been wrong, that she'd let fear and prejudice cloud her judgment. She wanted to meet Camilla again, wanted to try to build a relationship with both of us. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight. But slowly, carefully, we began to heal. My mother learned to see Camilla for who she really was, not the color of her skin or the size of her bank account, but the incredible woman who made her son happy. Today, 3 years later, Camilla and I are happier than ever. We have a beautiful home filled with laughter and love. She started her own marketing firm, and it's thriving. We travel together, dream together, build our life together one day at a time. And every morning when I wake up next to her, I'm grateful for that Tuesday morning in a coffee shop, for spilled coffee and perfect accidents, for the courage to fight for love when it mattered most. People sometimes ask me if I regret what I did that night at the gala, if I regret embarrassing my mother, causing a scene, walking away from everything I'd known. I tell them I only regret one thing, that I waited so long to do it. Love isn't about making everyone else comfortable. It's about standing up for the person who makes your heart complete, about protecting what matters most, about having the courage to choose love over fear. That night, I learned that real love isn't quiet and polite. Real love is fierce and brave and willing to face the world. Real love is worth fighting for, worth everything, worth the risk of losing everything else. And when you find that kind of love, you hold on to it with everything you have. You protect it, you nurture it, and you never ever let anyone make you feel ashamed of it. Because in the end, love is all that matters. Everything else is just noise. That night taught me that love isn't about making everyone else comfortable. It's about protecting the person who makes your heart complete. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Have you ever had to choose between family expectations and true love? Tell me your story in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories about love, courage, and standing up for what matters. Remember, when you find real love, fight for it.